Hey folks, doesn't this tree look like a huge fascinator on top of my head? I hope that you're doing great today. I had a wonderful conversation earlier on today that I mentioned on my YouTube video yesterday, and it was really exciting, and actually it was really blissful, because one of the realizations that I made and that I acknowledged even during the call, and if you're watching, thank you very much for the fabulous conversation, because said person contacted me through this very YouTube channel, that I acknowledged in the call and out on my walk that I, a good word, I created this. I set everything up, and it's wonderful to see the process working, because it does work if you stick at it. The process works if you work for it, okay? You have to be invested. And what you will notice is all of the, as is happening for me now, all of the old programming will rear its head. And that's the real gritty stuff that we all have to deal with as human beings. All of those limiting beliefs and vexations and anger, rage, all these things that we've experienced for a long time because we felt stifled or frightened or unable to actually get on with things. All of that will surface. And the process that I'm using at the moment, the technique, I mean, it's really, really sort of cold procedural stuff, is that when I'm encountering these emotions, and some people will turn up their noses at this, but the fantastic method that you can use to deal with these thoughts is without any kind of judgment, whether you're doing the right thing or the wrong thing, is to write them down and concretize what it is that you're feeling without going into why you're feeling it, whether you should be feeling it, are you a loser, are you weak, are you pathetic? No, you are none of these things. You are a human being, and underneath all of the bravado of people on social media, the highlight reel that we are exposed to on a daily basis, all of the best stuff that people will put out there, and they'll keep all of the other messy, ugly, inconvenient, awkward things that they don't want to admit, and they all end up dead at 40 or taking steroids for going to the gym and having shoulders up here so they can't move their necks anymore, so they sort of look like pigeons walking around like this. All of that is a result of just not acknowledging how the fuck you feel. Really, honestly, at the heart of all disease, I have always believed this. All illness at its root is caused by anger. It's all stress. It's all just forms of stress that people experience by not being honest. And that's what writing things down actually does. It crystallizes, well, I'm feeling this, so I'm going to write it down. I'm going to acknowledge that I'm feeling this. I'm just going to accept it wholeheartedly. And I am going to be the master of the emotion, rather than the emotion or the psychological state being the master of me. And it's radically simple, and I think that's partly why people won't do it. They think, oh no, that's too simple, that's too obvious, that's too basic. I want something complicated. And I was on my way here thinking that we cloak our trauma, we cloak our conflict in complication. We surround ourselves with complication, and rather than peeling away the layers of the onion to find out who you truly are, we actually add until it's the size of the fucking universe and just completely overwhelming to actually deal with. And it can feel, I create my videos, I write my blog posts, I do my tweets on Twitter, I do posts on Instagram, all over the place. And it can feel like you're just shouting at a huge, empty landscape, but you're not. You're actually not. People are watching. And this is the really important thing, not for outside validation, but for your own sanity and your own self-worth, you are valuable. You are trustworthy. You are reliable. You are doing things. And maybe if you're not doing things, well, question why you want to lead a life of silent desperation on your own, not doing anything. Because the conversation that I had is as a result of me recording the videos, putting out a really simple link that people can contact me through. And he also, because bolstered by me giving the message that things are possible all the time, he's contacted me. So he's immensely brave as well. So it's this fantastic meeting of minds and wills and a genuine desire and willingness to actually get over the shit that we've experienced, because everybody has it. And before I came out on this walk, I was watching an episode of Neil Oliver on his YouTube channel, and he does various series. He does his weekly monologue where he talks about current events and things going on. But he also does sort of history series, and he's doing a series about ghosts at the moment. And a lot of, obviously he has a historical bent, you know, he's interested in history, and he talks about his family a lot, how they were involved in the world wars. And believe me, there is absolutely, in our culture, there is a collective trauma that we're all experiencing. And I don't think it goes back years, decades, or even generations. It goes back centuries, all of the stuff that we're dealing with. I remember my sister and I, this is a long time ago, when I was in London, we went to the cinema to see The Other Boleyn Girl. And obviously it's about Anne Boleyn and her sister, and there's a lot of historical background to it. But basically towards the end, where Anne Boleyn miscarries, and she says in the scene, and it's what she was accused of, she basically looks to her brother and said, we're going to have sex, and you're going to have to get me pregnant. And honestly, it was just one of the most harrowing moments, because the whole audience in the cinema just I've never experienced anything like it before or since. It was just such a profound moment. But the thing is, we have all of this behind us. I don't think we realize the effect, the weight that history has upon us. And if we leave it unquestioned and unexamined, then we're just doomed to repeat the same miseries and imprisonment. We imprison ourselves. I'm absolutely convinced of this, that there is no greater jailer of you than yourself. And if you can actually unlock the traumas, if you're willing to actually dive deeper into them, you know, I remember in my first book, Be You to Free You, which you can get on Amazon, that I said, to go further, you have to go deeper. You have to be willing to face all of those things that you've been avoiding, and actually face them and realize that you are strong enough to deal with them. So that bloke reached out to me, got in contact with me. I don't like the phrase reaching out, although it's HR talk. That bloke got in contact with me. I'm so grateful to him, because he was actually incredibly brave in the conversation, open, honest, really nice. And we've had this incredible interaction, and it throws stuff up. So the coach benefits from the student. It's mutual, it's symbiotic, and it's so powerful, because we have all of the technology at our fingertips, which I keep saying, use it. The technology is not evil. How it's used by people is either good or nefarious. So use it for powerful and positive means, because it's sitting right there. And I know that there are people watching these videos who will absolutely be in a position to help other people and help themselves in the process. Win, 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 all the way down. That's all it is. That's what you're aiming for. It's what I'm aiming for. And you know what? By being honest about how I feel, how I react to various situations is so powerfully transformational. I want everybody to experience what it feels like, because it feels brilliant. But as I often say, the choice is yours. It's your decision. It's your life. You do with it what you will.